Welcome back to the Fine Finish Podcast, Episode 10. How do you define success? Is it the quality of projects completed? The number of satisfied clients? Making the most money? No matter your answer, it starts with marketing. At its core, the goal of a basic marketing strategy should focus on getting new customers and keeping those customers. This includes having the basics like a logo, a website, an email address, but it's also more than that, and it's the reason sales and marketing go hand in hand. Sales is about making and closing deals, while marketing takes a wider approach by creating awareness, building relationships, and driving growth. That's what we're talking about today with a team from MWM who joined us to discuss how you can increase the chances of success by employing a solid marketing strategy. Thanks for listening to the Fine Finish Podcast. Let's get started.
I go hard in the paint. 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 I go hard in the paint.
I'll fix it. It's all, everything will be fine. Yeah. All right. Welcome back to the Fine Finish Podcast. I'm Matt. We've got Lewis with us again, as always.
Up?
And we have a team today with us from MWM, right? What does that stand for?
You don't want to know. It's Marketing, Wealth, and Management.
Marketing, Wealth Management. All right. You want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Dan Powers.
Dan Powers.
Jennifer Prince.
Jennifer Prince.
And Aaliyah Hulse.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I met Jennifer at a class we both took at the Houston Community College. It was the Mattress Mac School of Selling.
Yes.
So we did that for, I don't know, what was that, 6 weeks or so, I guess.
was.
And pretty informative, I guess. For me, it was a good refresher, I'm going to call it, because it was a lot of sales 101. But, you know, it's always good to kind of revamp your skills, I guess. But Jennifer does marketing, and we sat together at the same table for pretty much the entire class. So figured it'd be good to have you on, have you come in. We're kind of working on some top secret stuff here that we'll talk about a little bit and help our listeners out a little bit. But yeah, that's how Jennifer and I met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love sales and marketing alignment. So the class talked to us a lot about how sales people can be more effective, how they can keep themselves motivated, how they can make sure they're targeting the right prospects, how they make sure they speak the language of that prospect. But when you talk about marketing, that's just a way to accelerate that sales process if it's done correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's
And I think
my sweet spot.
in today's economy, it's more, it's all about marketing, I would think, because without the marketing, there might not be a sell, right? How are people finding you? You know, why are they calling you? All that good stuff. And then the sales cycle starts. So we haven't really talked a lot about marketing and sales on the podcast. I mean, it gets brought up a lot, but we've never really deep dive into it. And I think it's really important because our customers, we hear it a lot from them. A lot of these guys don't have websites. They don't have their businesses listed on the various digital platforms where they really need to be. And one of my favorite things is I'll have customers like, I'm like, hey, you busy? Or like, oh, we're waiting for the phone to ring. My follow-up is always, well, who has your phone number? Right. And they kind of get taken back, but it's like, no, seriously, who has your phone number? Like you're aggressively waiting for the phone to ring, but nobody has your phone number, right? Because I can't find you anywhere. So handing out that business card, I mean, it's kind of an old school way to do it. And I wouldn't depend on it these days for sure. So I'd love to pick y'all's brain because y'all are the marketing experts, right?
Yeah.
This is what y'all do on a daily basis.
Yeah, a comprehensive marketing strategy should, at its core, make it easier for the typical business owner to focus on what they do well. Usually somebody has a skill, they're going to go out and practice that craft. It is not for them to have to think about, what is my brand? Who's my target audience? How are they going to find me online? Does my social media tell the same story as my website? Like, all of those things take time out of their job and doing what it is that they really want to focus on doing. And that's where marketing can help them make sure people find their phone number, make sure people know that what they do. It cuts through the noise. The Better Business Bureau says there's 2,000 painting contractors in the greater Houston area. How do you make sure any one contractor stands out? It's marketing. It's solid branding, solid storytelling, solid and consistent outreach to people that could be customers or have already been customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does that whole journey kind of start for people, I guess? So let's take a listener, somebody that might be listening right now that maybe they have a website, maybe they don't. Let's just say that they don't. And also, let me kind of back up to, I think there's also a lot of people that have been, maybe screwed over by marketing companies in the past. We all, like we were talking about earlier, we all have gotten that phone call, people claiming this is Google or your business isn't listed on voice search, which, we know is, where do you register for voice search, right? Can you kind of talk about that just a little bit? And anybody?
Sure. So I would say at its core, a marketing business has to be just as customer centric as any other business. It's no use in a contractor putting up a bunch of fancy logos, putting out a website that talks about how they're such a great painter or coder.
Yeah.
And none of their customers actually
everybody's the best,
that message.
right?
Yeah.
Every contractor's the best.
Exactly.
They all say it. Ask them, right?
Yeah, and so I think a lot of the phony marketing companies come out and they just want to practice, making the coolest graphic, creating the slickest website, but they haven't actually thought about, what does that business need to say? Who do they need to say it to? Where is that audience going to be found? And what's going to make them want to say, I want to talk to you? Yeah, that's effective marketing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, would you say quality over quantity? Because you mentioned something before we started recording. We said a lot before we started recording. Hopefully we can circle back to some of that. But that somebody's website might have too much on there. Or one of y'all said that, right? And I think there was somebody we were talking to not too long ago.
Oh, Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde.
We'll pick on Clyde a little bit.
Yeah, he admitted it himself. So, but it was paragraphs
It was
paragraphs
like
on his homepage.
It was like a book.
And we're like, that's nice, but is anybody going to sit there and read all that?
Thanks to Twitter or X.
Yeah,
we got 140 character limit for most people's attention.
Yeah. So quality, or maybe it's a balance between the two. I guess maybe.
So it's quality, but it's also where does marketing come in is the content, right? So you might be the best at what you do, but because you don't listen from the outside, from the person that's looking for it, you are not going to say things properly. You're not going to reach that person at their deep psychological level where they're actually looking for something very specific. Each person, doesn't matter what the business is, has something very special about them. And it's built around one person, which is kind of like a visionary. Right. And so when we come in, we help them bring that out. What is it about Dan, the painter, that's unique over anybody else? Because not only does he do this, but maybe he has an eye for something very specific, or he can bring in the right people to make sure that whoever is looking for that specific look, they're listening properly. So it's about listening. It's about bringing the content. And you mentioned earlier, first, and I don't know what the stages are at this point, but yes, you start out by going door to door selling your services when you first start the business. We've all been there. And then you start sharing your business card. But without that website, especially these days, everybody's on their phones, everybody's on the computer. It's like, let me go look them up. First of all, are they legit? Second thing I look for is references. What do people say about them? If it's anywhere 3 stars or less, probably won't go there. I'm looking for 4 stars and more, and then I will go to the top reviews and I'll go to the bottom reviews. What do they say? And sometimes those reviews will say, well, they never called me back, or I forgot to do this, which has nothing to do with the actual job that they did. So I look for
the
reviews.
product,
What is the product? What is the job that they've done? What do they say about that? Because some of the content is not relevant.
Yeah, and so that's another big thing that I found even, I'll give you a scenario. So we were doing a door refinishing class here at our location.
Cool.
And the goal was to have as many local contractors as we could, because when we do classes, people come from all over the country. I mean, it's rare that we have actual locals taking some of these classes.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I sat there and called, I think it was 7 companies, and I say companies, but these are people that had a listing on Google, right? And said they did this particular service. Nobody answered out of 7, right? And then I finally got one to answer, and I think, maybe the next day somebody called me back, maybe somebody sent me a text, but that is a big thing as well. I can't remember what I was reading or listening to, but most consumers nowadays, I think, looking for something, if they're not getting a pretty immediate response, they're just going to continue to search.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I don't know what the statistics are for contracting industry, but I did look up statistics for legal firms. If you don't respond within the first hour, there's a chance that you're not going to get that person as a client. Because that's very specific, right? Because when people call lawyers, usually they have an issue. But I would assume also, if you're looking for something specific to fill the need, you need to be at least a notification. Hey, by the way, I'm swamped today. I will get back to you tomorrow. Is that okay? Can we schedule a call? Or have somebody else respond that might not have the content available for them, but will say, I'm calling back from so-and-so company, and we did get your phone call. We'll get back to you tomorrow. Is that okay? Or is that something urgent that we need to get somebody on the call? Because
it's a demonstration of value. I mean,
absolutely.
I already feel like an unvalued customer, air quotes, if I'm not getting a call back within, I would say 24 hours in most cases. Anytime I've submitted anything online, some kind of inquiry, if I'm not getting a call back in a day, it almost guarantees I don't even want to do business with that provider, because I feel like they have too much else going on. I'm not going to be a priority. So that's important.
Yes, creating marketing content for the right people is easy, and getting those leads for you. But are you ready to receive those leads? Right. Are you ready to nurture those leads? Because once they call you, they become warm leads, and that's up to you to do the sales part. Marketing is
for sure. And what did you were saying? Reaching out to somebody, right? And the instant. People want instant results, right? Yeah. And we've talked about this before. What did you call it? Whenever same day close or
one call close.
One call close, where it's if you got to keep reaching back out to them.
Yeah,
right.
You're probably not going to get the job.
You're probably not going to get it.
That was from a sales standpoint. Like this, you call, you want your house painted. My goal is to close that job first time I'm there. And next time I'm coming back is to do the job. We gave that scenario because I had a conversation with somebody about quotes. They were like, "Oh, how do you do quotes?" And they're like, "Well, I go to the house, look at it, then I go home and I write it all up." And
They probably already called somebody else.
Email a
Yeah.
quote, and I'm like, "Stop doing that," because that is an awful decision. Being in this type of business, I get it if it's a massive, huge
Absolutely.
project or something like that. But I mean, most of the time, just take an hour or 2 hours and just get the quote done there. That way, because I mean, it's going to be yes or no, right? I mean, either it's in budget or it's not in budget, and you should have a good idea if you're going to get the job or not. And if they don't close, at least you can follow up on the conversation. At least they know what the price is. So, but kind of circling back though on the contact, the human interaction that people are looking for, which I understand. So I would compare a law firm similarly to a contractor, painting contractor, electrical contractor, plumbing contractor. Maybe there might be more of an urgency on one of those than the other. If you have a busted pipe, obviously you're going to keep calling until you get a plumber. But even at the same time, when you have a lot of options, like you have lawyers and you have painting contractors, people are going to continue to go down the list. How can they utilize it? Let's just say they're a man in the van operation or a very small company. Maybe that person's on a ladder. Maybe he's driving to a job site. Maybe he's in the middle of a quote right then at that moment. And Dan, maybe you can answer on this because we were talking about this as well before. When is a company ready to nurture those leads? How do they nurture them? I mean, because I'm sure a lot of our audience is in that scenario that I just mentioned, right? Where it's not that they don't want to answer, they might they can't,
There's a lot of good tools out there to help follow up, especially phone calls. I don't know so much about, but emails. Outlook is great because when the email's sent, you can have it remind you within 24 hours. So there's all different kinds of, apps and stuff out there to generate those so it reminds you. I use that a lot in my business as reminders on emails, setting a calendar. Just simply set a calendar invite. Hey, call back Billy tomorrow at 8. Do it before you get started because you guys are hands-on and you are on ladders doing things. So that anything you can do to set a reminder
to call back
is phenomenal. As far as answering the question about when you're ready, the owner of the business knows when he's ready to grow. The problem is when you start the growth, when you start the marketing, you already better be ready to grow because just about anything. If you go into a restaurant, you sit down and eat, and it's a horrible experience, you're not going to want to market that because what are you going to bring people in to turn them away, right? So the questions you need to ask yourself is, are you ready to grow? Do you have an infrastructure set up to handle more volume? And is your infrastructure ready to handle more volume 100 times what you're doing? Because you don't know what that marketing is going to do. It may only generate 10%, but I've seen marketing generate 100% more revenue, especially when you're smaller. One job and doing one job a week, turning it into 2 jobs a week. Well, if you can only handle the one right now, you may have to double your staffing to handle 2. Right? Absolutely. What if you have a apartment complex call you that's got 400 units? Are you prepared for that? Right. So those are all questions that we can help answer in the initial consult.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we can design that contact form to enable better prioritization of who needs to get called first. So if we know the right questions to ask when somebody's saying, hey, please contact me, I want to get a price from you, that painter, that coder can see, oh, okay, this person is saying they're, single family dwelling. They got this many square feet where they have this kind of kitchen remodel, and they're interested in X. It helps them have that conversation more quickly than, Jane Doe, here's my phone number, and you have no clue what Jane Doe wants to talk about. That's a much harder conversation.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I wanted to follow up back not only on email but on voicemails. So if you're a 1-man or 3-man shop and you don't have the time, you are on those ladders, you could set up your voicemail based on who you are, right? So let's say you're friendly, bubbly personality. Say, hey, this is Joe. I'm not available. I'm probably on the ladder somewhere, but I will be checking my phone today at 12 o'clock and today at 5 p.m. Expect a call around that time. Now you know, okay, you just, he gave you that content. He said, I'm not going to be calling you back until 12 o'clock because I probably am on the ladder. And it's giving you that little bubbly personality as well. Or if you're too serious, you can adjust your voicemail the same way too. It's like, at this point, I'm not available. I will be checking my phone at 3 o'clock. If I can't get back to you, please email me or text me as I'll respond faster.
I was gonna say text is great. Just let them know, hey, look, I am got my hands full. Shoot me a text with your name and your contact information. I'll call you after 5 today.
Yeah. That's what mine says. I'm not going to check my voicemail and shoot me a text. Literally, because I don't check my voicemail.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think most people these days are accepting of that. And if they are not in a position to send me a text, I probably don't need to talk to them anyway. They're probably
having a landline are probably very slim anymore.
Yeah, they're trying to tell me my Google Voice is not activated, and for $59, I can activate it with them.
Right. And I would also recommend for those that don't have the time, recruit your family members or teenagers, have them listen to the voicemails and say, Dad or Mom or Grandpa, this is a hot lead. Please call them back. Give them $10 or give them a percentage from the sale. Engage your family members to assist you with answering those calls because those leads are warm leads. If they're calling you, they need your service. Now it's a matter of how do you sell that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We need like a AI voicemail that is smart enough to know somebody's calling for a quote. Because, I mean, that's the other thing, too. These guys have existing customers that they're working with or previous customers that they're working with, probably calling the same phone number, for things that are not, hey, come give me a quote, so.
And when you talk about the potential for repeat business and referral business, that's where the Mattress Mac School of Selling really kind of opened our eyes to. When does the experience start with a customer?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It starts at Mattress Mac, gallery furniture.
Yeah.
Starts as soon as they walk through the door.
Absolutely.
It's all a part of the process until the end of the delivery of the furniture. And so, Mattress Mac has created a stellar customer experience process, and it starts as soon as they give you their phone number.
Yeah.
And I would take it even further. You said until the delivery of the furniture. I feel like that's where the sale comes in. Once they deliver the furniture, now that person. There's a great salesperson, Joe Girard, and he has a Girard Law of 250. It says that every person knows at least 250 people.
Oh, yeah.
And they did the studies, and that's approximately right. So by assisting Dan, you are assisting 250 other people that after he likes it, they're going to come in and say, wow, those are really cool cabinets. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
So my background a little bit mostly is in restaurants, but so there's a statistic out that says that the first time a customer visits your restaurant and they have a good experience is 33% more likely to come back a second time. If they come back a second time because the first experience was good, they're like 70% more likely to come back. If the third one is a good visit, they're like 100%. You can't ever run them off.
They're regulars.
But, yeah, exactly. Repeat customers. Yeah. But if the first one is good, they're still 33% likely to come back. If the second one's bad, they're 90% likely not to return.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So you said when delivering the furniture, where I come from, I have to get them in 3 times before, and good 3-time visits before they're actually returned. So by not calling back or not being able to reach back out, that to me in this industry would be a hard no. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And one other piece to that is the person that's calling back.
Sure.
Oh, for sure.
You might have the most amazing, super detailed, 100% on time person working on it. But if you call and you come across as harsh,
Oh yeah.
you have no business.
Bored,
Yeah.
Bored, whatever.
impatient.
Oh yeah.
How you
Just not
called?
going to-
yeah.
Oh, I was,
What do you need?
I was telling, we have a new hire. Her name's Juana, and she's good. She's working out really well. But she actually was a customer of ours. Well, she worked with her brother, who was a customer of ours. He's a contractor, and I was out there and I heard her take a call, and I've always been big like smile when you're talking on the phone. When you're answering, the smile, you know, because it changes the tone of your voice and it changes the customer experience on the other end. And she was like, "Oh, I'm just so used to being so serious because I was managing, you know, the employees and picking up materials." Where I was like, "No, I don't like silence on the phone. I don't like, you know, the tone of voice has to be right." You know, and that's why I said, just smile.
Yeah.
Make it a habit to smile when you pick up the phone, please, because it will transfer through on the phone call. And I know it does. I know it works. You know?
Yeah.
It works 100%.
People can hear a smile. And people are people.
Yep.
I think in the midst of a sale, sometimes that gets lost because the person who's doing the job just wants to make sure this is serious. Do you really want to buy something?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to take you seriously. But they're human.
Right.
Ask them how their Thanksgiving was.
Yeah.
Ask them why they're changing their floors or they're, you know, invest in some interest
like you
in
care.
their life. Yeah.
Act like you care. Yeah. Oh,
Take a next step.
Be surprised how much that's giving you
Yeah.
that potential customer more motivation to do business with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. You have to kind of park all of your own issues, you know, the job you're on, the headache of a customer you might be dealing with, and just enjoy that interaction for the time that you have it.
Yeah.
One more piece I want to add to that, which is so important, but so many people skip, is the moment they did become a customer and they paid, that's when you give even more customer service. A lot of times, you know, we talked a little bit about phony marketing companies in the past that everybody has experience with, but everybody's great and nice and they're on you in the first until you paid. The moment you paid, you can't get a hold of anybody.
Right.
You're having to deal with a computer and so on. No. That's the opposite. The moment people pay, that's when you go even further into it because you want to create a lifelong partnership with these people versus just a one-time deal. Because it's a lot easier, there's statistics, to sell to those that already bought, whether it's their family, whether they're renovating again, or whether, you know, they're giving a gift to somebody else.
Yeah.
Just to
No,
remember
absolutely. So just to let all of our listeners know, we are teaming up so that we can offer marketing services to our existing customers that are actually buying materials. We see it as a really, really needed service. I can't tell you how many people come in here and have like zero, just like I was saying before. And we're going to throw something up on the website. Jennifer, you had talked about branding a little bit. And, you know, I think maybe because we've studied it, we know, you know, the sales and marketing aspect, but I think there's a lot of people that do not understand the differences between marketing, advertising, sales, branding. Branding is something that we've recently done. You know, we have our branding guidelines, and, you know, we always say like brand awareness is really important. I think that's important to talk about and help people understand because, like you said, that differentiator, right? I mean, it's a painting contractor. What are you going to, I like to ask this question is like, what do you search when you're looking for a painting contractor? Usually it's painter near me, painting contractor around me, painter in Houston. Yeah. That's just a very general, you know, thing to type into Google. And again, none of us have ever met somebody that says they're okay or contractor. I'm just okay. I'm not very good at what I do, right? They're all the best. Every single webpage, we're the best, we're the greatest, been doing it the longest, blah, 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 blah. How does what is branding? How does that play into all of this?
Branding is often something that marketing agencies take care of, and they might not make the distinction clear, but it's really simple. Your brand is who you are. Your marketing is what you do. And who you are has so much equity and so much power. The number one example I always give is Starbucks. You'll pay $5 for 8 ounces of coffee at Starbucks because it has a Starbucks logo on it. You take that logo off the cup and now you're like 50 cents. I'm not giving you more than 50 cents. That's the power of branding. So the more recognized you can become, the more people know who you are and what you're about because your brand is solid. Now the sale gets easier because now you're already established, you're family oriented, or you care about the fact that your products are clean, sustainable, green, you're not adding to the carbon emission issue that the world is facing. You're an expert. You've been doing this for 20 years. All of that is your brand story. It doesn't matter if you're painting or, fixing wall outlets. Nobody cares. But the brand, people do care. Yeah. The brand is just going to give people an understanding of fundamentally what is this business. Now, the sale gets easier because now when you talk about this is what I do, people are already bought into this idea that you have the right kind of business that's going to match what I know I value. And it makes the sale easier.
Sure.
It's important.
From a marketing and branding standpoint, can somebody, I know everybody says find a niche, right? Find a niche. But can it get too niche to where the homeowner doesn't understand it, right? Where I see this a lot where, and I even talk to my customers about it because of the type of paint we sell. It's premium, but I always tell them don't go in there and oversell this because you're just going to confuse the shit out of your customer. They don't know what it is. They don't understand it. They just know you're providing a service. I mean, what's that balancing act there?
There's a lot of different ways to look at it. One of the key ways is to keep in mind that the vision you have for your business is one component of your brand, but the image you're portraying to the market is another key component. And then your culture, your expediency, your good customer service, all those things. But that image you're conveying to the market is a function of what your customers are looking for. If you know they're looking for quality, superior finishes, that should be a part of the image that you portray to them because that's what's important to them. So brands aren't as egocentric as I think a lot of people think they are because the top brands usually do have such a large share of a market that they overpower what people think brand is about. But your brand definitely has to talk to your customer. It can't just talk all about the business. Sure.
Yeah, and I guess I'm meaning more like I'll see a lot of contractors that are trying to differentiate. Like we get a lot of people that come in here and I'm like, why are you switching to our product? It's always, what are you using now? Why are you switching to our product? And I hear it so much. Well, we're trying to differentiate from our competitor. And then when you look at the marketing, it's so overcomplicated. I'm like, dude, nobody's ever going to search what you put.
Right.
Like we use Italian, waterborne, 2K, non-isocyanate. Like nobody's going to search that. Nobody's going to search that ever.
So I have I like to use the metaphor of buying a car. So let's say when I go to buy a car, I could go in there and I could be turned off by the salesperson by all the specs and details, how many horsepowers. As a woman, I'm not a racer, so I don't care about those things. I'm talking about, is it safe for my children? Is it safe for my dog? Is it going to make me comfortable? Do I like the color? Right? So you create that experience. I noticed a lot with the specific industries, engineering, contracting, people will start talking about the details of where it came from, how it's been developed, and so on. That's not what people care about. What people care about is what is it that's in this product that I'm going to pay more for What is it that's going to make my life easier? Is it going to make my children safer? Is it going to help me maintain less my flooring or whatever it is that way? And just to back up for branding just for a second, you start branding from day one, depending on your business. And that's why the consultations are so important, is you focus on what's the big vision. And you want to start branding from day one, but you don't want to put too much focus on it. Branding is all about loyalty down the road. And you want to protect the brand because your brand brings something very specific, particular to your material. It's green, it's clean, and it's safe. That's what attaches to the branding. The marketing part is, how is that going to make my life as a contractor easier to use your paint versus somebody else's? And then as an end user, somebody who owns a house, how is that going to make my family safe and make me clean up less?
It's the age-old benefits versus features conversation.
Absolutely.
A lot of people use a good product and they want to tell you all the features of it. Customers don't care. Customers care, what are the benefits? So if you're telling me that this is water-based, that's wonderful. That's a feature. What's the benefit? That's a different question. And that's what marketing is supposed to help paint the story of.
And I noticed a lot of websites will put features.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
You
want
technical
to-
people love features.
you want that somewhere there for that technical engineering mind that's looking for it specifically. But you want to put the benefits. You are selling emotions, so you want to focus on the benefits versus the features.
Yeah.
And a lot of what y'all are talking about sounds like business to consumer, right? But what if you're B2B, right? That sounds like it might be a little different, because now the end user wants to know that it's clean, wants to know that it's safe for their kids, right? But how do you talk to another business so that they can convey that? Because that's what we're more B2B than we are B2C.
And it's actually not. It's
So
actually
still the
it's
same?
the same. The difference in B2B is you're talking to in a real, structured situation, more than one customer. You got multiple personas. So you've got maybe the business owner, the actual guy that's going to use the product, that's going to install it. They care about different things. So yes, this coating is water solvent.
And
The
then-
owner of the business only cares to the extent that he can tell his customer that this is a green.
And I feel like more B2B, they're more focused on price or more cost. I mean,
there is somebody at the end of the day that's going to
yeah.
be like, how many units am I going to get?
Yeah.
What's how much stuff can I actually coat?
Yeah.
Yes, so the messaging is still there that is benefit led. It just has to be the right benefit for the right person in that audience of people at a B2B sale that's looking at what.
And is the juice worth the squeeze? I mean, we've actually got a client marketing right now that it has a large national marketing company that he pays for, but he's paying for us too, because it's a complete different specialized niche that he was looking at. And he's showing 20% yield on that, just that little piece that he's doing.
Wow.
So even though it's costing him more, it's productive enough for him, profitable wise, that he's added to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going back to the B2B, you're just looking at a person. Ultimately, it's all about what's the value for that client.
For sure.
Right?
Absolutely,
You can have main values, but then when you're having that sales conversation, you're seeing what their value is and what is important to them as a benefit. You're still talking about the benefits, but of course you want those features in there, because there are, like, Jennifer's mind is very analytical. She needs to see the features in there. She wants the benefits, but she wants to see the features too. For me, I say, skip the features. You're just confusing my mind.
Right.
What's my benefit?
What's
How's
it
it
gonna look
going?
like once it's done?
It's like, I just want the big picture.
Yeah.
Don't bore me with the details.
I seen one of our customers that I have business conversations with pretty regularly. I was searching. I think I typed in cabinet painters near me, just to see what popped up, and one of the sponsored ads was from one of our customers, and it seems like he started taking our advice because the way he had it worded was no odor, no dust cabinet painting. And I was like, that is perfect. That's perfect.
Yep.
Because everything else was like, we paint cabinets in Houston. Cabinet
So do
painting
we.
in Houston. 20 years experience in Houston. It's just redundant. It stood out so much because it just said no odor, no dust. And I was just like, that is perfect. That is a huge benefit to any homeowner, so yeah. Were you going to say something?
No. No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, so our entire support here for all of Fine Finish Supply's customers is making sure that their businesses are known, making sure that their existing customers are being kept in contact with, and making sure that there's active lead generation, taking that off the shoulders of the people that are out there doing the work every day, so that they can see some of that business growth without having to be solely responsible for it. So we've designed that to be as simple as possible, but also make sure that we can get into the bones of the business and make sure that the brand resonates, that the operations can scale with the growth that the marketing is supposed to provide them. And yeah, we're happy to offer free 30-minute consultations to make sure that we get a sense of what these businesses need and then tailor the right package of solutions for them.
Awesome. So we're going to throw a link up on the site. I think it's just going to be finefinishsupply.com/marketing help. And so you heard it, 30-minute free consultation. Just, fill out the form. Let's talk. Let's have Jennifer or somebody talk to you and see how we can help you, because if you're just sitting around waiting for people to call you, but your phone number's not sitting anywhere, it's probably not going to work out too well for you. So
Now's the time. It's
now
year-end.
is the time. Yeah, put it in the budget.
Yeah, kicked off right.
Yeah. I really appreciate y'all coming by and having this conversation. And like I said, we have the link. Usually we say, how can they find you?
Yeah, but we already said that.
But we're all working together, so we'll have it, and hopefully some people reach out.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Everything
We
final
look
y'all want
forward
to
to
say? Anything else y'all want to add?
I think Lewis summed it up.
Think pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, we appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
See y'all next time.
Later.
The Fine Finish podcast was created and hosted by Louis Hasso and produced and co-hosted by Matt Looney. Our theme music is by Kirk Wellness on SoundCloud. Fine Finish Supply is a stocking distributor of Renner Wood Coatings, Surf Sanding, Apollo HVOP, and Tritech Airless. To support this podcast, we ask that you share it with others by simply passing on the link, post it on your social media, or just tell everyone you know. For more information and to reach us, visit our website at www.finefinishsupply.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us at 1-866-304-8640. Thanks for listening.